This is an M-Bot. This is Dash. This is a Sphero. And this is an M-Bot Ranger. And I'm going to be competing these robots against each other in a series of challenges. Before I actually get started with the competition, I should explain how this is actually going to work. This is going to be my scoreboard. Some competitions will be winner takes all. Some competitions will score based on placement. And the first challenge is incline test. This one is simple. If you make it up the incline, you score a point. Let's power up the first bot, which will be the M-Bot. But first of all, maybe I should talk about each robot. This is Dash. This was my first educational robot of the 4. Therefore, this is the one I've had the longest. The drivetrain is a 3-wheeled front-wheel drive robot. The steering is independent, and it has independent motors for each of the 2 driving wheels, and a small rotating idler wheel. Next up is Sphero. This is my second educational robot of the 4. And this is the one that I think is the most advanced in terms of technologically advanced. The drivetrain for this is a ball. Therefore it has omnidirectional steering. It also has independent motors on each of the 2 wheels and 2 idler wheels up top. Number 3 is M-Bot. This is the robot. This is my first robot that I actually built. This is one of 2 make-block robots I have. The drivetrain for this is a 3-wheel rear-wheel drive. It has 2 independent motors for each wheel, for each of the 2 rear driving wheels, and a small idler wheel up front. This also comes equipped with a line following sensor and an ultrasonic sensor. This is M-Bot Ranger. This is my newest robot, and personally, this is my favorite robot. This is the most advanced in terms of building, as this is similar to a Vex, Meccano, or even a Lego Technic set. It's similar to the M-Bot, however, there's a lot of key differences. The drivetrain for this is 2 tracks, 1 motor for each track. It comes equipped with a line follower and ultrasonic, just like the M-Bot, but lots more ports on the robot brain if you want to add things later, like more lights. It uses 6 batteries, which I'm currently using rechargeable batteries. And this thing is a gas guzzler, or battery guzzler, whatever. It uses up a lot of energy, because it has 2 tracks under high tension and high watt motors. From the factory, the instruction booklet tells you you can remove the ultrasonic sensor to actually go off-roading in dirt. Now that I've introduced each of the competitors, let's get to the competition. First up, MBOT. I'm going to connect to the robot via the app. It'll spin to let you know it's connected. Now for the incline test. I already flipped over. Each robot gets 3 chances to complete the challenge. If it fails on the 3rd challenge, it is considered it failed the challenge. I'm going to try backing up this time. These tires are not good for grip. Maybe if I get a bit of momentum going. This thing is not fast. I have to be careful because this is my 3rd try with the MBOT. And with that, it is considered this robot failed the challenge. Let's move on to the next one. Next up is MBOT Ranger. I'm going to do these both. For all the challenges, I'm going to do one make block after the other make block because they both use the same app. Let me power this bot on and connect it. This one does not spin to let you know it's connected. And turn the light on. That one cleared it quickly. Alright, I'm going to take this out and move on to the next robot. Next up, the Sphero. I will be using the Sphero app. Now, as of recently, when you connect to a Sphero, it'll display an image like this red arrow. If it matches the one on your screen, you're connected. It's also so you know which robot you've connected to. You can also tap Find with Physical Motion. And it'll spin. Find with LED lights. And it'll display an image. Once you've found your robot, click Close. This one is hard to control. That one does not count as a fail because I lifted the throttle. That one does. I'm going to gain a little bit more momentum. Nope, same. This is my 3rd try. Currently I have another challenge in the way, but I can move it, and I might be able to gain just enough momentum to make it over. Alright. Going with the Sphero. Success. Because this is a ball, and a plastic ball at that, this has less friction to the ground than the other robots with their rubber tires and tracks. Excuse me. But with that done, Next bot. By the way, when you close the app, because there's no real off button, when you close the app, the Sphero will turn off. Alright, for the last robot, Dash. When you turn it on, the face will light up. And when you connect your robot, it'll make a ding, a dinging noise. So at that first attempt, all right, that's a fail, and clearly Dash is very annoyed at the camera. This time I'm going to try reversing it up. Okay, failed second attempt. I feel like that has promise. I just need to keep it under control. This one is probably the hardest to actually control. There we go. Dash has completed the challenge. Alright, for the first challenge, Mbot does not. Mbot failed all 3 attempts. Ranger completed, Dash completed, and Sphero completed. They each get a point. Now on to the next challenge. And the next challenge is off-road. Instead of taking the robots outside, because that might damage some, this is the off-road test. I've gathered a bunch of random wooden planks, and this is going to be my off-road test. Just gotta rearrange them a little bit. Alright, with that, the first robot, Mbot, connected. Of course that thing has to turn on. Okay, now I'm gonna start. I have to be very strategic with this. The same goes with the off-road test as it did with the incline. 3 attempts for each robot. Alright, looks like Mbot's hung up. First attempt was failed. If I'm very strategic with this, I might be able to get it up. Just gotta be careful not to get it high centered. Alright, the motors are stalling. Alright, that I would call that a failed second attempt. Come on, Mbot. Again, I can be very strategic with this and actually make it up. These pieces of wood. The third wheel is getting stuck. Oh. Wait a minute. Moving. Alright, even though it is so close, I'm going to call that a failed third attempt. Bad day for the M-Bot. By the way, I like this because it says M on the side for Mustang Mania. Alright, I've restored it as much as I could from the M-Bot pushing some of the elements around. Next up, M-Bot Ranger. In fact, this robot comes with two other forms. The Nervous Bird, which is a self-balancing robot, and the Dashing Raptor, which is like a three-wheeled racing robot.
Easy!
That was not really a surprise that the M-Bot Ranger succeeded on the first attempt. Alright, next robot. Connecting. Alright, the image is the same. Close. I'm just going to aim the robot. Alright. This one, just like the M-Bot, if I'm strategic with this, I could succeed. For this challenge, it'll be considered a failed attempt when the robot is not able to move without any external force. So like when the M-Bot got high centered, gotta figure out. I'm just gonna aim this thing again. Oh, so close. Alright, I'm going to consider that a success. I'm just going to grab the robot from all the way. Wait a minute, I'm just going to drive it over here. Alright, the celebratory spin. Final robot for this challenge. Dash. Dash is... I mean, I could... Ow, just hit my knee on the head of the robot. I mean, this one could actually... This one's pretty similar to the M-Bot in terms of the drivetrain with three wheels. Alright, I was still able to move it under its own power without any external force. So this is still considered a first attempt. Okay, well, not anymore. Okay, yeah, not anymore. Second attempt. There, I was able to get it unstuck. Maybe I can go from this direction. Alright, I don't really see any way I'm getting this over, so I'm just gonna call it at the second after. If I don't make this, yeah, I'm just gonna call it here because actually no, but yeah, this is gonna be the third attempt. So I mean, I know what it's just. All right. I think this gets an award for most times hitting the wall. Alright, well I got it stuck, so that's the third attempt. Poor Dash. Alright, well that was still the end of the third attempt. Alright, updating the score. Mbot, no. Ranger, yes. Dash, nope. Sphero, surprisingly, yup. Alright, moving on. And the next challenge is the side tilt challenge. This is the side tilt challenge. This is what they do with for the off-road cars to basically test at what point do they flip over. For example, this Lego Jeep, it can go at a pretty impressive angle, but once it gets to a certain angle, flip. This is important so the dealers can tell, or someone can tell the buyer of the car, especially if they go four-wheeling a lot, what the maximum angle is. So, for this, I'm going to need this. It's basically, it's just a phone with the measure app, with the level on the measure app, electrical tape to each robot. So, oh wait, it was already on. I'm gonna turn this on, wherever the power button is. I know it says -1 degree. It'll go back to normal. Our house is at a little bit of a tilt, so for this, I'm going to need a custom control panel, which you can do on the Mbot app. Which basically just, I put this quad direction, which basically it'll go completely straight. So I'm going to align this with this. I'm going to start the test. And when I see that it tips over, there will be I will stop the footage and then replay it to make sure, so I can know what degree Okay, this is probably going to be harder than I thought. Okay, maybe I need the other control panel. The standard one. Alright, it's at negative 23 or 33 degrees. This is what annoys me about this robot, is the motors always stall. Alright. Alright, so after reviewing the play, it has been confirmed 42 degrees. It's actually quite impressive, and that's almost to the top of that. So I'm going to need a taller block because some of these robots, mostly talking about the Ranger right here, have a low center of mass. So I've upgraded it. With a Nintendo Switch case and a fishing book. By the way, you can probably hear my 3D printer in the background. It's printing a Lego piece. I'm printing another one of these engine pieces. I already printed one. I'm gonna just print another one. So, on to the next bot. While I'm at it, I'm just going to bring the other robots over here. Got Dash and got Sphero. Okay, got all the robots. I'm just going to attach everything to the MBot Ranger. Alright, I've jerry-rigged this phone to the robot. It'll definitely meet federal regulations. So if you've noticed, I've been pressing the power button on top. This phone seems to be blocking. However, yeah, the phone is blocking the power button, just like schools block literally everything on the computer. For some reason, they think kids will buy cars.
Bruh.
But right here, another one. So, yeah, 2 power buttons. That only people who actually own this robot knew that. Alright. Connecting. Still connecting. Putting it closer. Alright, the phone's already sliding off, but it's fine. It's already... Yeah, this is not going to work. I just got to get through this as quickly as I can. I'm going to use a phone to hold a phone. Wow, 45 degrees. 47 degrees. That's actually 48. Let me reposition this so it's not just... Alright, well, I think I maxed out at like, what, I don't know. I was not able to get an exact measurement, but I estimated that it's about 50, 51. I'm gonna go with 52. Because it did tilt a little bit more before it fell. Alright, next victim, robot, is going to be Dash. Alright, I've attached the phone to Dash, so I'm going to turn the speed down because I don't need it to be this fast. Maybe if I get it on the plank. How am I already... Alright, well, the maximum... the maximum angle before it gets stuck is like 25, so I guess 25. Unfortunately, you can't really do this with Sphere because it's a ball, so technically it only has one wheel. So can't really... It'd be very, very hard. Plus, like, it auto-stabilizes. So if it's like this, it'll just roll off in an attempt to auto-stabilize. Anyway, unfortunately, Sphero is not able to compete. The side tilt, Mbot Rager got first place, which gives it 3 points added to the score. Mbot got second place, so it has... I'm just going to divide this. Mbot has 2 points added to its score. Dash, third place. Sphero, did not compete in this one. So that Ranger takes the lead. The next challenge is the steep incline. And this is the steep incline. Now, you may remember this from one of my other videos where I made a K'NEX car go up a very steep incline. Highly recommend watching that video. The fails and the successes both are pretty good to watch. And I got frustrated and destroyed the robot or car or whatever. Anyway, you guessed it. First robot up, Mbot. Turn the lights on. Horn works. Gonna try reversing up. Alright, this is attempt 1. Or technically, actually, attempt 2. Alright, that was attempt 1. that was attempt 2. Since this did not pass the first incline, won't be surprised if this fails again. I accidentally... Okay, well, that was attempt 3. Next up, Ranger. Alright. Yep, it succeeded and destroyed the ramp in the process. Next up, Sphero. Alright. Alright, that was technically attempt 1 because it flipped itself over. Attempt 2. Attempt 3. Yeah, I'm not surprised this didn't make it. Finally, Dash. Alright, that was attempt 1. Alright, that doesn't count. The ramp gave up. I mean, the ramp just like... Yeah, that doesn't count. That was more of a user error. Alright, that's a success. Whoops. Alright, Ranger, complete. Dash, complete. Mbot Sphero did not make it. On to the next. Now, for this next challenge, I forgot to connect it. Anyway, for this next challenge, jump. Alright, this is the jump challenge. It's not really completely in the frame, but there is a ramp atop that box. If you're wondering why there's Lego bricks there, it's because that's what I'm going to use to mark each one. So, first up is Mbot. I'm going to put it right here and then mark where it starts, so I'm not giving any robot an unfair advantage. Alright, I made the starting line. I'm just putting tape in front of the ramp so it's easier to get on. Alright. 2, 1. Where it fell was approximately right there. So that is the MBOT's run. Next up, Ranger. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, where it first hit the ground was right here. I'll mark that with the red brick. That is Ranger's run. Moving on. Sphero. Interesting, it actually has a Sphero logo. Anyway. Putting the Sphero at the start line. Gonna aim it. There we go. 3, 2, 1. Alright, I'm gonna go again. It drove off the ramp before it actually reached the top of the ramp. Alright, 3, 2, 1. That was approximately right here. Jeez, I actually thought that'd be better since it's faster. Alright. Last up. Dash. Nope, don't want to hit the brick. Alright, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm going again. I hit something. 3, 2, 1. Alright, that is right there. Okay, I actually thought there would be better jump distances. So, but I mean, score is a score. Alright, so purple is MBOT, blue is Dash, yellow is Sphero, and red is MBOT Ranger. So if I grab my Sharpie right here, MBOT Ranger, 3 points. Sphero scored 2 points. Dash scored 1 point. And then MBOT got 4th place, so no points. So, with that, I think it might be done. Just kidding. Why would I end it like that? I think I want to end with a good old-fashioned, come on, tug of war. Honestly, I thought this thing rolled better. Oh, wait a minute, it was high-centered. Here it is. The tug of war. It's simple. I compiled the in-season matches. One robot will face each robot one time. No repeats. After that, I count up all the wins for each robot and decide which seed they have. If you don't know what that is, a number 1 seed was the highest placed and will face the number 4 seed. After that, the bracket will be formed. The winner of 1 versus 4 will move on to the finals. So will the winner of 2 versus 3. Those two will compete, and that's how the champion will be decided. So, first up, Mbot versus Dash. Now, for this to be able to happen, I do need to find a way to attach this string, which I currently am sitting on, to each bot. Simply, I'm just going to use metal axle to go through this part of the Mbot and tie it on there. And then tie it around this part of Dash. Don't worry, no robots were harmed in the making of this video, other than falling off. Alright. Both robots are connected. 3, 2, 1. Oh, it might be a... I think Mbot, the tire, just crossed the line. So that would be considered Dash 1. Now I gotta get this string out of here. Dash won that one. Next up, Mbot versus Sphero. So you may be wondering, how the heck am I going to get this thing attached? Well, actually, 2 years ago, for my tech ed class, I made this. Basically a car that Sphero went in. So I'm just going to attach this. I don't really expect this to be a fair fight. I mean, Sphero has is plastic, and Mbot has rubber tires, but let's just see what happens. You never know. All right. I'm connecting both robots. Mbot is already connected. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Oh, wait a minute. Looks like Sphero is getting hung up. Okay, yeah, that was easy. Mbot. All right, next up is Mbot Ranger. All right, 3, 2, 1. That was so quick, and it was honestly kind of hilarious how easily Ranger dominated that. So after that, Ranger is still up. Mbot is done. So we're gonna set Mbot right here. I'm actually going to tie it in a different place. This is Dot, basically the other one. And this is a little stand that comes off. So if I take the string, put it through here, tie it on, I basically just made a better alternative to tying it around the head. It still goes on the head, but it won't get stuck in the joint. So I'm going to turn on dash. Three, two, one. Ranger won. Alright, next up is Dash versus Sphero. 3, 2, 1. Alright, that was not hard. Alright, next up is Ranger versus Sphero. In 3, 2, 1. Alright, now counting up the wins. Mbot has 1. Dash has 2 wins. Ranger has 3, 0, 0. Ranger will be the number 1. Dash will be the number 2. Mbot 3, Sphero 4. Okay, Mbot Ranger versus Sphero. In 3, 2, 1. That was a quick match. Sphero is eliminated. Alright, Dash versus Mbot. 3, 2, 1. That actually was pretty close. Unfortunately, Dash got eliminated. Alright, for the final match, I forgot to connect this. Alright, there we go. Mbot versus Ranger. 3, 2, 1. Okay, yeah, Ranger won that. That means why is this not coming out? Ranger wins. The tug of war is won by Mbot Ranger, and pretty much the entire challenge was dominated by Ranger. And with that, the tug of war. The Ranger finished first. Mbot finished second. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Because both Dash and Sphero were knocked out in the first round. So with that, in total, Mbot 4, Ranger 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's a 12. 1, 2, 3, 4 for Dash. Sphero 1, 2, 3, 4. You've got to be kidding me. I expected there to be one clear winner, which was Mbot Ranger, and then all the others to be different. So I guess I have to do something else. So after looking at the at the qualifying scores, Dash did finish in third, giving Dash 5 points. I've decided on a drag race. So over here, where this line is, that will be the finish. So I'm going to power the robots on. And I'm going to connect to each of them. Connecting. So, pre-stage, stage. Now I'm going to stage this one. Or this is actually how drag racing goes. That's the competition. Mbot Ranger wins with Dash in second place and Sphero in third place. Oh, yeah. Mbot in fourth. Also, additionally, I think Dash is the best for kids who are just beginning with robots. The Dash is probably the easiest to learn with. Easy to control-ish. I think Sphero is good for kids who already own robots but want to get a bit more advanced. And then the make blocks are good for people who actually want to build their robots. One interesting feature on the Mbot, see this little black button right here? You might think it's a reset button. Nope. When the lights are on top are white, it's like an RC mode. Press it once, lights will turn green, and it's obstacle avoidance mode. And then blue is line following mode. There's this thing that comes with the MBOT. So in line following mode, it'll automatically follow.